All right. Good morning, everybody. How is it going? How is Sunday treating you so far? Adjust the microphone a bit. All right. Let me know if the sound is good. Good morning, Narvan. Glad to have you here. Nice. That's exactly what I wanted to know. All right. So, while we're all getting settled in and waiting for our friends to join us for this sketching session, let me introduce you to what I have in mind for today. As you probably have guessed by the title of this stream or any notes in the excuse me, in the announcement, today is gonna be some Linocutting happening in front of your eyes. And the topic for today is quite simply the entry for the art challenge that a good illustrator friend of mine, Sasha Kolesnik, and I are hosting on Instagram and Discord. So feel free to join. It's very relaxing challenge, even if you can call it a challenge. I mean, it is a challenge. And the challenge is to draw with a new medium for 24 days. We started it as an advent calendar kind of challenge, so it's in our case tied to Christmas, but I mean it ends by Christmas. But I think it can be, you can modify it to make it your own, right? You can make it just half a marathon, quarter marathon. There is no shame in that. If people can run a marathon and some other people decide to run half a marathon, it's not like the less impressive. Either way, we're doing this challenge for 24 days, and it's been 6 days so far. Today is day number 7. So we will pick a house from these and Linocut something for that space. As you can see so far, I've been kind of trying to both change the medium that is being used, but also the style of the house. I think by the end of this challenge, maybe afterwards or at the end, I will go through whatever this whole thing ends up looking like and kind of tie the things together, maybe, add some shadows so it's more clear that it's all connected. Right now I feel like some of the areas just feel disconnected, like cutouts, which is not maybe a problem in itself, but maybe something I want to work on. Alright, so let's see which of these houses we want to turn into a print. The numbers that I've put here so far are quite random. It's just when I sketched the whole thing, I added numbers to those sections to keep track. Because we need, 24 areas to paint in. But I see that the number 7 is this house here, and I feel like it might be a good candidate for this linear print. We can shorten it a little bit, like half of the print. Let's see, how wide does it need to be? Like if it starts here and speaking of this 24 sketch advent challenge, are you also participating? Have you even heard about the challenge? Did we do a good job promoting it? Yeah, let's make it a bit shorter, this house. And if you are participating, how is it going for you? Is it fun? Is it challenging? Is it fun and challenging? Is it something else entirely? We do have this is live stream, as you can see. I mean, you probably can't see it, but it is a live stream. But this video will be saved, as the recording of the live stream. It's gonna be on YouTube. So if you happen to be watching later, feel free to leave comments on what do you think about this whole thing. Norvin says, I'm just enjoying the art of others and they all do a great job. Awesome. Awesome creativity. Yeah, I also enjoy watching other people do this challenge. I think it's really cool to see that, people come up with their own topics, or you can really see that somebody is experimenting with the new medium or playing around with something they had laying around the house, or borrowing art supplies from their kids. I think this is really, really cool. So I'm happy that we have some people participating. And if you're one of those people, kudos to you. Thank you for joining. And if you're not one of those people, then you're missing out on a lot of fun. In the meantime, I will just try to, mirror this sketch of a house that I have on the left onto the linoleum, and then I probably will sketch on the linoleum before I carve it out, just to make sure I'm carving the right thing. Maybe this way you can see the numbers. Maybe I'll make it a bit, the roof I can make a bit lower. Luckily with this house it doesn't have anything drawn outside of it, just, this connection to the acrylic pen nonsense that I've produced yesterday. So we just need to keep an eye on this line. Like this one should be kind of straight, I guess. And here we need to leave some space for number 21 as it stands for now. But other than that, we can kind of do wherever we want. The only thing is maybe to keep this width and to the same width as on the sketch, because we don't really have much space to go more on the left, and I wanted to keep a little bit of space around the image so it doesn't stick to the sides as closely. There was a dramatic turn of events with one of our participants of the challenge. They were painting daily a snowflake, like an LED snowflake that was hanging above their window. And every time, it would be a little story about that snowflake, what happened during the day maybe with it or something like that. And it would be a drawing with a new medium. And I thought it's really cool because, you can see that the person is really, as I mentioned before, just like playing around with medium and clearly having fun and exploring something new. I don't know, I felt like it was wholesome, and I like the stories that they posted about those. Like, it was very short, I don't know if you didn't call them stories, it was just like a couple sentence description. But I felt like it added a lot to the art. So recently that snowflake died. The batteries ran out. So just when I, posted about that and invited people to participate in life of the snowflake, but alas, it was not meant to be. The snowflake is still there, as far as I understand. It just doesn't shine the light anymore, unfortunately. But it didn't. What I also admire is that it didn't let that person stop with the challenge. They picked a good substitute for the unforgettable snowflake. It's a Christmas tree, also with like a star on the top. So there is that. Ram. You wouldn't expect it, right? That something so simple can create so much tension. And yet, social media, drama. Let me zoom in on this house a little bit. We don't really need to see all of the other houses. Is it visible, the lines on the linoleum? I think it kinda is. Let's say it is. If it isn't, it isn't. I will try to make it a little darker. But maybe this mechanical pencil is not the best for the job. Now that I'm thinking about this specific house, maybe I can make these wooden beams a bit wider so I can add some wooden texture on them. Like that would be as a linen print. I have been quite excited about linen printing lately. I see people on social media and on the internet in general doing some very cool stuff and very creative and what looks like a fun thing to do. And because I'm kind of thinking about what prints should I make for my web shop, I feel like the linen printing community gives a lot of inspiration for that. I would be curious to know, what drives people to buy. Well, not people, maybe because we're on this channel right now. What drives you to buy certain products from artists, like, or t-shirts or prints or tote bags or something like that? Is it a theme of that art? Like, is it the print itself, or is it the artist themselves that you want to support, or is it just I need a t-shirt and this looks cool? Would be really curious to know how that works for people. Because for me, myself, I'm not a big fan of shopping for clothes, for example. But now and then, when I need a t-shirt, usually when I need a t-shirt, by that time I'm already so annoyed with my old t-shirt that I just grab whatever is easiest, which leads to some questionable choices. But at the same time, I think, next time when I need when I will need this, like when I will need a new t-shirt, maybe I should go to this artist that I like, buy a t-shirt with their print. That would be, I think, my more conscious decision-making process if I could enforce it on myself. There were a couple of t-shirts that I gifted with prints. Were from some other artists that I found on. But this is a little bit different than, when you're picking a gift for someone, you're kind of thinking if the thing fits that person's interests or style. Let's bring the mascot back into it. I also wonder if this time slot is the worst for people to join. I was yesterday, when I was doodling this monstrosity hour, I was watching a stream from Jay Stiller, Joe. You should check him out. He is, I would say, an environment concept artist and illustrator. If you find his Instagram, which you might want to do, you can see what he does. It's pretty cool. I also did streams like that a few years ago with mostly digital drawing, when you're sketching some thumbnails and then finishing one of them maybe during the stream or off stream. I find it very relaxing, and I really like his style, I think, because I've found him already a few years ago. I thought that I already liked what he did back then, but I think he really improved his composition and color and themes. So I really recommend checking him out. And I think he's in the US, so he streams a few times a week when it's evening here in Europe. And I find it easier maybe to join, like in the evening when you're watching, maybe you don't want to watch another rubbish TV show on Netflix. So you can tune in to Twitch and see what people are doing there. Maybe I'll add like a circle here behind the roof, just because I can, and I feel like it balances the composition a little bit. Speaking of Netflix, I received an email from Netflix. And they, just today, because recently they announced this big takeover or acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, which seems like a huge deal, right? Because Warner Brothers have been around since, what is it, 1920s? It's like 100-year-old company with a buttload of movies that have been produced there over the past 100 years. And because they've always been so massive, they kept acquiring stuff and producing their own movies and TV shows. So there is a big library of things that I assume will be added to Netflix. The only big question is how much it's going to cost. Because if Netflix spends 80 billion dollars or euro, not sure in which currency I saw the number. I guess everybody who is subscribed to Netflix will have to chip in eventually. So I'm curious if the subscription will cost 50 euro next year. What are your thoughts on that? Do you have any thoughts? Are you excited because that means then that Harry Potter and Game of Thrones will be on Netflix? Or maybe you're a fan of DC Comics, which then will also be on Netflix. Because as you have heard about, if you have heard about this news, you've probably heard that Warner Brothers also owns HBO. So all this stuff from HBO, I guess, will be available on Netflix either soon. I mean, some stuff is available already. I checked yesterday. But some stuff probably will come depending on the region and how much they want to get from it. But also this deal that they announced, the Netflix deal, it hasn't been approved yet, so maybe it falls apart because there is like too much power in the hands of one streaming platform. I can see people being divided on that because on one side you don't want all content to be in the hands of one company, even though to some degree, monopoly is convenient. it also lets people in charge of that company to kind of do whatever they want because they don't have a competition and people can't leave. So the only positive monopoly that I can imagine would be something, I don't know, is there benevolent monopoly? You could imagine, government having monopoly on certain things could be not a bad thing. I mean, okay, the only thing that currently government has really monopoly is violence. Like the government can prosecute its citizens. But citizens can also kick each other's ass. So there is that, and that also is not really a good thing necessarily, because then you have some weird people coming to power and start abusing this system of violence against citizens. So I don't know if Netflix owns the most popular TV shows and movies. It's good to have, it's convenient to have one kind of hub where you can go and watch everything. But then, you're completely up to their decision if they want, if they want to exclude certain regions from reaching certain content, or if they decide to raise the price. And there is kind of nothing you can do. Nervin says, as a consumer, I would love a one place for every movie TV show subscription. I don't know if the monopoly route is great. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm also thinking. I've been having this idea for like an application for your phone. Or maybe not just the phone, but for your devices. That kind of is a hub to access all the stuff. And I think that could be a solution, like if you have one, I think there are some pirate websites that operate that way. If you have like one website or one app where you go, and it doesn't matter where you stream your stuff from, right? Like I don't care if I want to watch a movie, I wouldn't care if I pay €2 for a movie to Netflix or to Apple or to HBO or whoever has that movie. I don't mind paying them to get that, right? Like it's kind of like with the library and books. It doesn't matter in which library the book is. You will just go there and get it, right? So I can imagine something like that would be both convenient for customers, but also not a monopoly from Netflix or someone else on other stuff. It's like that whole ordeal with Disney. They grew so big. They acquired. Did they buy Pixar? They did buy Pixar, didn't they? They acquired all this Marvel stuff. So kind of like it feels like majority of children and family content is produced by Disney. And once they bought also the all this comic book universe stuff, the TV shows and movies, then to me it does feel like sort of a monopoly on this type of content, but I'm also a bit biased and maybe missing out on some services that are available but I'm just not aware of. So if you know of any such services, you let us know in the comment, please, or in the chat. It's the same issue, at least I have, but I think it can't be the only one with Spotify. That, I mean, okay, right now there are maybe a couple of other options like Apple Music, but still, I would say Spotify is by far the most popular and omnipresent music streaming service. And you're kind of stuck with it, right? Like if you want to listen somewhere else, you need to put extra effort to do that. Like there are these established tools that we'll use because either they were first or they're just the biggest player on the market. But the problem with that is that, when something like Spotify turns out to be a really bad thing for any artist who is not signed with Warner Brothers Music or Sony Music Entertainment, one of the big guys, you're kind of fucked. Like there is no money that you will really get from there. Like it's just tiny amounts of profits, and partially is that Spotify is also a production company these days. They have their own products that they're obviously much more interested in having people listen to. Or they have deals with big corporations, which also make them more interested in promoting those tracks and artists. There was also this whole controversy about them using AI music or not restricting use of AI music on the platform. So at some point, all these contemporary neoclassical music that, or like lo-fi music, that is sort of meant to be a background music experience, suddenly a lot of new artists popped up on Steam, Street, what is it, Spotify. it's, you might think like, well, how is that different than any other marketplace where you have to compete for people's attention or views on your content? Like, how is that really different from Instagram, where if you're an artist with a big following, probably can make a living out of it, or can make something happen. Whereas if you have like 20 followers, it's really hard to stand out and be seen because of the way in Instagram, measures engagement and interest. Just cut this a bit. So it's a bit easier to work. There probably are better ways to cut linoleum, but don't look for easy solutions. There we go. Circles are tricky with Linocutting. I found it easier to kind of hold my chisel hand kind of steady and more move the like together, kind of like you're knitting, you're moving this the linoleum with one hand and the chisel hold it kind of still. I found it pretty useful for drawing circles. So there we go, a free tip. Can imagine today would be also quite a short stream, but I want to finish it with the music rack again. Also good that I didn't carve this 7, because if you can imagine, when we flip this and print, this 7 would be completely wrong direction. So let's fix this before I mess it up. I think I get confused at first because a flipped 7 looks like an F, and I didn't want to draw an F because it should be a 7. But if you think about flipping this, then maybe it makes a little more sense. The big question is, do I want this 7 to be filled or empty? Let's cover with some markers so we can see better. I think this 7 needs to be filled, so I will just carve around it. Although now it's kind of hard to see where the 7 is, but we know it's there. Yesterday was a Saturday, unless you're watching the stream as a recording on some other day than Sunday. But if you're watching it on Sunday, it was still Saturday yesterday. And as all Saturdays go, it was a street sketch Saturday opportunity to go outside and doodle something, away from your couch or table. I want it to be a global, international movement of Saturday doodlers. But for now, I think it's just me. So if you want to be one of the OG founders of this global movement, join in. It's not too late. I think I will do first kind of like a texture on these empty areas. I want to have just horizontal lines as if it's kind of made of planks, maybe. Here and here and behind the 7. And then I will do the kind of texture on these wooden beams. And then what's left would be to kind of remove the outside so we can try out printing. Speaking of trying out printing, I bought some tools for that. More specifically, we have a tray with this guy. And then we also have some blueprint paint that I hope is better than what I had before, because what I had before was very liquid. It was like very wet Linocutting paint. I mean, I still have it, obviously. I couldn't use all of it. But I found this being a bit, I don't know, maybe I'm just putting too much paint, but when it's too wet, I feel like it goes into the cracks more easily, and then it's harder to get a smooth print. But I'm not a printmaker yet. a thing I learned this week about Instagram. It has changed, right? It has changed. It's not as it used to be. Back in my days, Instagram was so different. Um, but what I wanted to say is that it has changed its algorithm, as those platforms tend to do. Same was with YouTube at some point recently, like last year or a couple of years ago. There was this big boom of weird new algorithm rules that YouTube started to use, and people were upset about it. But with YouTube, I still don't know what's up. But what I learned about Instagram, back in the days, it would be a lot of it would be about likes and hashtags. Like if you put the right hashtags, Instagram will put will show your post to the right person. And if that person likes your post, Instagram will count it as a big success and will promote your post to more people. But they have changed this from likes and views and hashtags. Hashtags you don't even really need to put, although I feel like it still influences, especially for small channels that just literally can't get the views because nobody knows them. But with likes and views and hashtags, it's not anymore a key metric. The two most important metrics that they use right now are for kind of counting how engaging the content is, are shares and saves, and then comments, and then likes, then views. So, which, if you think about it, it makes a total sense, right? Like, if you think about it from the content perspective, if you want content on your platform to be such that brings more people onto your platform or keeps people who already are on the platform more on the platform, the way to measure how great some content is, if you want to promote great content, whatever that means, you need to first define what it means. And I guess likes and views and hashtags is not really a reliable metric, because you can put whatever hashtags you want, right? Like if you know which hashtags are circulating in the right communities, or which hashtags are the most popular, you could, like, it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit your post, like the Instagram would also show it in that community. And likes is a very simple action that people can perform. It doesn't, like, you don't even need to watch the content, you just double tap and that's it. And I can imagine that over the years this double tapping behavior became sort of too mundane. If you look around yourself, or maybe in the mirror, you see sometimes people on the bus or in public transport scrolling sort of like every 1 second, scrolling to the next reel and then liking it, and then scrolling to the next reel 2 seconds later, which kind of is supported by data. If you read some of the recommendations and kind of people behavior, you literally have like milliseconds to intrigue someone or to hook them on your content, which is very, very, very short time if you think about it. And because it's kind of like a intelligent system that trained, like, you have to. I recently heard in a podcast a good way of looking at it. We're talking about this artificial intelligence and neural networks and all that stuff, and that there are these artificial intellects embedded into feeds on social media platforms that are training our own intellect, in non-artificial intellect. And I like this idea that it's actually, two neural networks, one artificial and one real, or one natural, just trying to teach each other something. Like my neural network engages with the neural network of Instagram and teaches Instagram neural network what kind of content I like. And then Instagram neural network learns on that and teaches me, in turn, how to spend more time on the platform. Or, how to get more out of the platform that the other AI is running. So, I found it kind of an interesting take on neural networks, that like ultimately we also have our own neural network, right? It's just non-artificial. And I like this image of, two neural networks interacting without even us consciously being there or being sometimes able to do something about it, because if you don't know, you don't know. So one of the things I've heard about this new Instagram algorithm, that as I said, it kind of makes sense that if you send content to someone in direct messages, or if you save the content for later, it does make sense to assume, maybe if you don't know for sure, but the system doesn't know for sure, but it can assume that you're actually interested in that content, right? Like if you shared with someone, means that like you want to talk about this content, means it's something that get you going. And the same with like saving the content for later. If you save the content for later, it probably means you found it valuable in some way. And I would imagine that being a better matrix of interest than likes and views, which are probably easier to get with bots, maybe. But one of the things that was discussed in that post that I read was, obviously you can game this system as well, and for better or worse, you could get some friends and just create a folder in your saved messages or saved posts on Instagram, and whenever somebody from your group posts, you just save it there, share it to each other, and maybe engage in a little comment discussion underneath. And this would promote your account much better than asking for likes or trying to get the views. Apparently. I haven't tried it myself. I don't know if this really works and if this is the current state of the social media. But maybe it's something to try out. So if you want to support some Instagram channel, I wouldn't, tell you which specifically. You can pick mine, for example, or someone else's, but you can also pick mine. And you can try, well, we all can try saving each other's content and sending it to our direct messages. I feel like it's gonna blow the direct messages folder pretty hard, which probably is not a great outcome. But if we can help each other grow an audience, that would help us stay consistent and be motivated to share art. Maybe it's worth it, I don't know. I will definitely try saving stuff more than just liking, and I also started maybe leaving a little more comments. I don't know about you though, for me it still feels awkward, the kind of social media interactions that we do these days. It's sort of personal because there is a person on the other side most of the time, but it's also so detached from like a human interaction that it really, I think it's kind of confusing emotionally. You really dig into that. Okay, the vertical wooden beams are sort of done. Let's do the horizontal and then this curved one. And then try a test print. I'm curious how it's gonna look like. What has been your experience on social media lately? Did you notice any changes in algorithm? Does it bother you? I mean, it obviously differs for people who are just hanging out on social media for social purposes, and those of us who might be trying to grow a business through social media. Obviously, kind of you have different goals and different ways of interacting. I used to kind of have two accounts. I still have two accounts on Instagram. It just like I haven't been posting in one for 6 years, I think. One for art and one for, I had it as like a travel thing. But it got, I don't know, it was really hard to post there in both cases. But since I have my studio registered, it feels much easier to post into my studio account because it just feels like part of the job, like this is what you do if you want to eventually get some people buying your prints or supporting you on Patreon. I was recently checking out some Discord bots for Discord to help manage the community. And there were some bots that were advertising free, or not free, free AI community support. I will tell about that in a second, but for now, let's take a 2-minute break. All right. Welcome back. From time to time, we need to do like stretch check and maybe hydrate. I know some streamers have it as rewards in their stream. By the way, did you know there is also currency on this stream? While you're watching on Twitch, doesn't work on YouTube, but if you're watching on Twitch, you are collecting, I think, ink. That's how I call that. And you can redeem your ink and do something with it. But I'm not sure what you can do. Maybe if anyone is curious, maybe you can check on Twitch in the chat if you can redeem the currency. I can't really remember what I have set it up for a while ago. Maybe you can't redeem it, but then we will work on that at some point. Also, if you're watching this still and you find it enjoyable, spread the word. Bring your friends here. Or just tell your friends to come here by themselves. Let's build a community around learning art, creating stuff. I think it could be very nice. Because then we could, do some fun activities. We can share each other's work, come up with challenges, help each other get unstuck. I feel like community is what everyone needs. And if you don't have one, maybe you need to create your own. And this is kind of what is this channel is about. Curves are hard. Nervin tried to redeem something. Did it? It didn't work, did it? I think it's like under the chat on Twitch, there are some buttons you can click. Can you watch my own stream separately? It didn't, and don't see the tablet mobile app buttons. Yeah, maybe it's not on tablet or mobile. Maybe there's nothing to redeem. Well, then I guess there's that. It says you need to redeem item. But there is nothing to redeem. Oh wait, there is a store? I have a store with items? What's that? What does it mean? Oh, interesting. Well, it's a great store where you can earn points but can't spend anything. This is interesting. We'll need to investigate that a bit. Perhaps before we have a community, it doesn't make sense to put too much effort into creating polls and stuff like this reward system and loyalty leaderboards. Oh, help. Wait, you have points. It's 680 points ink, and it's first out of 8 on the leaderboard. This is pretty neat. What else is there? I see you're exploring the man server. Seems like there is more stuff than I knew. There is just nothing to buy in store. Okay. I see. Well, maybe we can think about something to add to the store. For example, what could be fun? Right, I added another point system. Anyhow, I've been also, last time we streamed a little bit on Instagram and a little bit on Telegram. And that also is something apparently we can do. But is there a point in that, like for Instagram? I think there were a few people who stopped by, but they just opened it probably because it was in stories as a first thing. So that, like, nobody really watched there. There were like 0 viewers, but maybe like 2 or 3 people stopped by and then left immediately. You don't see on Instagram, if you're live streaming there, you don't see when people leave. You just see that somebody joined, but you don't see if someone leaves. So you kind of, left hanging there a little bit. Plus, in general, it's not like, well, I don't know actually if people watch live streams on Instagram. Have you watched the live stream on Instagram? Does it have value to you? And what are the circumstances when you would watch a live stream? I can imagine it's popular maybe with music producers, or like, I don't know, if you're going on the concert, maybe you can live stream from there a little bit. But this sort of live streams, like what we have on YouTube and Twitch, usually when it's like 2 hours stream or 3 hours stream. I don't know if that's something that happens on instant. Instant. Who knows? If you're one of the people who knows, let others know as well. That's kind of another thing I'm pondering about lately. In general, engagement, not just with art, but with content overall. People kind of have now a very strange relationship with engaging with content. On one side, this is everything that the social media algorithm cares about and talks about, and not even social media, just in general. If you're developing an application or a website, you want engagement. It just means that something is relevant and important for the users, right? It doesn't really mean anything bad. But then the way certain applications count engagement, and second, the way I feel like people don't realize the depth of engagement that they're acting out, and the way it affects the world around them. In a way, I feel like it's a little bit like the thing with being vegetarian. If you are the one person who is not eating meat, obviously it's not gonna, close all the slaughterhouses in the country or make people change the whole industry. But I do feel like it's still a meaningful example, or like a meaningful action to do. And in a way, it's similar with, it's just a choice of engagement. Like, how do you want to engage with the meat industry? Like, do you want to support it wholeheartedly and eat schnitzel or sausage every day because it's fun for you? Or do you want to be more conscious about that and maybe choose what type of meat you eat, or trying not to ruin it with just bad cooking? That's another interesting topic we discussed the other day with Nervan, that there is completely different side of industry of producing meat that kind of goes maybe less noticed, is just bad cooking. If you think about like a little like a corner shop where they sell pizza and kebab and French fries, and everything is all made together. Sometimes, especially like if you go to some central station in a little village somewhere, you often, especially in Germany, you often would get these shops or like a little cafes where sometimes you get good food, sometimes you get shitty food. And if you think about how much meat and effort is just wasted just because somebody doesn't know how to flip a steak or something, or like how to change frying oil, like simple things like that, which are easily avoidable with just some maybe education in that area or some practice or some skills that people could acquire. And obviously it all comes down to skills that people can acquire, but it doesn't have to be very complicated skills. So with social media and everything in general, if you think about it, also like wherever you buy your clothes, or wherever you go for some other type of entertainment. Netflix, for example, or whatever. It does matter how conscious you are while engaging with it. And if you're conscious about your engagement with a piece of content in front of you, you can get much more out of it. You can, if you're conscious and you want to support a creator, for example, on Instagram, knowing what helps, like maybe engaging in a comment conversation or saving it to your folder of saved stuff, or maybe sending it to your buddy. Like you can send it to yourself to another account theoretically. So all of that would bring you more satisfying results, right? Like if you want to support and you do things that actually matter rather than blindly following maybe what's most common or what's the easiest thing to do. For example, with watching content, it does matter on YouTube and on Instagram and on Twitch, I think as well, how long people watch your content and when do they drop off. And I was thinking the other day, which, like, this is something I do personally. If there is a Twitch streamer that I like and I want to support them, of course I can follow them, which I do, just keep myself up to date with when they go live, but also just to help them to get to like certain levels of recognition by the platform as well. So if you're watching on Twitch and you're not following, please do. But the other thing, like if you're watching on Instagram or YouTube and you know that watch time is important, you can always keep the tab open for later and let the video run until the end, for example. I feel like those little things are, in a way, kind of a more conscious way of supporting artists, and not only artists, obviously. You can extrapolate it on anything else. But these are my 2 cents on making the most out of the knowledge that you have. Let's make a test print and see how that thing worked out. I will take my new tray and new block print paint. It's supposed to be black. This one is also pretty liquid if you think about it. Very wet. So far it's looking pretty good. There aren't many weird places that concern me. Just press it really well. Everything's transferred as it should be transferred. Otherwise, what was the point of making the texture of the wood? You can see it on the print. Okay, moment of truth. Probably need a little bit more paint. But I think it's good. We can just use this. I'm surprised how crisp it is. Good job, me, I guess. What else to say? This one worked out better than expected. Let's try a little bit more paint. And I also have another paint here, what is it called? Carmine. So I will add a little bit of that to the black. See if that does anything. I mean, it definitely will make paint brown, but how much? I also worry that because of the texture of the paper, it will be much harder to get a good print. That's why I will add a little bit more paint to, or yeah, a little bit more ink in the attempt to counter the texture of the paper. Alright. Are you ready? It's the moment of truth. Let me see. supposed to be. Well, and then we're stuck with this view. Alright. So it needs to be like half a centimeter into this other building. Well, let's see how that works out. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Alright, the moment of pressure. It's time to put some pressure on. Bear with me for a second. It's a human printing press. Okay. We can also use a piece of paper, this, and use that roll that we already used before. And roll it up. Also nice texture. Maybe I can use it for some. Okay, now is the moment of truth. Well, it's not as crisp as this version. As you can see, this one is pretty crisp. This one is pretty not as crisp. But will it stop us? Probably not. The only thing I want to adjust here is just take this water brush I have. It's supposed to be water soluble, but I will just make sure that the 7 is visible. Maybe help some of these shapes that were supposed to be solid. Get through the texture a bit better. I will leave some of the texture for this moon, sun in. Is anyone watching also interested in linoprinting or doing linoprinting? Let me know if you have any advice on overcoming the paper texture? Is it just pick the right paper, you idiot? Or is there something you can do? Maybe adding more paint? Or not doing thin lines? Sometimes I feel like as a beginner, because there are a lot of things you don't know, there are a lot of things you kind of assume or imagine that this is how stuff works. And then it turns out to be not the case. Or you're overcomplicating something that doesn't have to be that complex. For example, like with, why am I talking about this? This Linoprint that we just did today, the one I'm painting right now. Maybe there is no solution to a thick textured paper for linoprints. It's just the medium that doesn't fit the purpose. And as a beginner, you might not know that and try to make all these tiny lines on your linoprint that end up being invisible at the end. So sometimes knowing things just helps you pick the right topic or the right approach to the project you're working on. Alrighty, I think I will call this house. I will call this a house. House number 7. Probably gonna call it the house of Lin Print. At least it adds some diversity to this whole page of houses. So that was house number 7. There is still 17 to go, which is quite a lot if you think about it. So I have no idea what kind of medium we're gonna use next. Could be anything, but for now I think I will call this a successful sketch. And now, as always, for our little outro, it's time to play us out with our trusty Roland MC101. House diversity. Yay for house diversity. Hope nobody got motion sickness from that amazing camera action. All right. Let's see what we have in store today. Let's get back to, let's create a new project today. Just just for fun. I will show you it's done. I think this might be better lighting. Well, that was weird, but that's what we have today. A bit short, a bit strange, but sometimes this is the Sundays we get. So, as always, I appreciate you being here. You could have been doing something else, yet you chose to come and say hello. As always, you are invited to share your thoughts and feedback down in the comments if you're watching on, what is it, YouTube? If you're watching on Twitch, don't forget to follow. You know what to do. Support things that are important to you and people. And with that, I wish you a good rest of your Sunday and a nice week ahead. Thanks for being here and see you next time.